Well, good morning, everyone. We're going to start off with one of our biggest bills of the year. 1/3 of our money goes to the outdoor heritage and we have this Lassard Sams committee that does a lot of work throughout the entire year, and we're also we have one of the representatives with us today that's going to be has been on the committee and doing the work all along with them. But first, I'm gonna move House File 634 be laid over for possible inclusion, and so that's the motion. It's before us today, and so with this, we'd like to welcome Representative Becker Finn, and it's kind of a neat place that she's at. She's a true outdoors person, and I see a lot of her Twitter. She's got out fishing with the kids, or maybe chasing the deer in the woods and all those things. But and that's much of the work that's done in this committee. So good morning, Representative Becker Finn, and please start us off and then introduce your testifier, or how you want to go.
All right, thank you, Chair Lilly. The first thing, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Chair, if you could move the A2 amendment. It's just a technical author's amendment. If we could get that taken care of off the bat, that would be great.
Thank you. That's a great suggestion. I'd like to move the A2 amendment. Any questions regards to the A2 amendment? It is just a technical amendment, and I'm sure the author will include it. It's when we get going. I don't see any questions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? We have your amended bill before us. And
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Lilly. And as you mentioned, I have served on the Outdoor Heritage Council. I've been the House DFL member on the Outdoor Heritage Council last biennium, and am starting my 3rd year on the council this year. Good morning, everybody. It's a very busy week, but I'm happy to be back in front of you today to present the 2021 Outdoor Heritage Fund Appropriation Bill. This bill, as introduced, reflects the recommendations of the Outdoor Heritage Council, with nearly $128 million appropriated to projects throughout the state. I know that Mr. Johnson and myself have been in front of you already this year with last year's Outdoor Heritage Fund bill, and so I won't go as in depth because I know you already have an idea of what we do on the Outdoor Heritage Council, but just to remind folks, the duty of the Outdoor Heritage Council is to make recommendations about how to spend those funds, which, as Chair Lilly mentioned, is 1/3 of the legacy funds. And we are tasked with focusing on protecting, restoring, and enhancing habitat for game, fish, and wildlife. And so that is our role. The council is made up of members of the public who are appointed, as well as legislators, similar to our other councils. And really, we have interesting backgrounds of different folks as far as their direct experience with hunting and fishing, and those things that are protected for us in the Minnesota Constitution. But it's a good group, and we put in many hours over the course of the year in vetting these projects. My only regret with this bill is that there really isn't. I wish I could take you all on a field trip to see some of the things and see some of the projects, because it's just I've always found it sort of impossible to get across how impactful this can be and what it means to restore a prairie. You kind of have to walk in that prairie when things are in bloom and see the pollinators and see the wildlife and see the impact. But we have projects throughout the state, and if you look at the spreadsheet that was provided, it's as always it is in the categories of prairies, forests, wetlands, and then habitat projects. And also, if you're able to bring up the handouts on your computer in color, they're much better than when you print them out. But there are some maps there and spreadsheets that are that list all the projects. And with that, Mark Johnson the executive director of the council, is here, and he has some testimony as well. But those are the basics of the bill, and I will let Mark share a little bit from his end.
Thank you, Representative Becker-Finn, and thank you for your work. I know it's having served on there, and it's a great committee. Mr. Johnson, thank you. Welcome. You're doing a great job over there as well, running this program. Please begin when you're ready, sir. Welcome back.
Mr. Chair, thank you. And members, good morning to all of you. Thanks for having us here. Mr. Chair, as the Representative Becker-Finn had mentioned, there are citizens and legislators on the Outdoor Heritage Council. And actually, I was just thinking about yourself, Representative Erdahl, Representative Murphy, and are all past members of the council. Representatives Hanson, Fabian, McNamara, and I'm probably missing somebody else. We're past members. So there's a lot of knowledge of what happens within the council's deliberations on these recommendations within all of your colleagues. And of course, in the Senate, the same thing. So we thank you for being able to share that knowledge as you can. In a nutshell, this bill, it's a big bill. It's $127 million, and it is big each year. It's a cumulative, I should say, of the recommendations of the Lessard-Sams Outdoor Heritage Council. And the reason behind those recommendations is that statute charges the council to come to the legislature with recommendations for funding from the Outdoor Heritage Fund. Part of the reason for that is to make sure that there is some vetting that happens along the way so that each of the proposals can really be looked at with scrutiny. Each year we put a RFP out in the spring. It's published each spring on April 1st and ends the end of May. This last year, we received 48 proposals for about $315 million worth of requests. The council from that whittled it down to 45 proposals, as you see, for $127 million in recommendations for funding. And I can get back into that in a little bit. Well, actually, maybe I should now. But each proposal, what you should know is that each proposal has been examined by the council and by the staff. And each proposal is then ranked based on criteria, 10 different criteria that the council has set. So it's a very uniform ranking system. And then from there are hearings held each summer where all of the proposals are heard from and questioned. And then, of course, more deliberations and discussions. And finally, the recommendations come together. And they are agreed upon by the entire council. This set of recommendations was a unanimous agreement by the council. There may have been discussions along the way where they weren't quite unanimous on this appropriation should get this much and this much. But overall, the entire package then was unanimously approved by the council. All of those meetings and all of those deliberations are public because of the open meeting law. They are all recorded, they're all televised and or streamed live, so the public can watch them and the participants can be active and engaged. And it's a long, about a 6-month process of just reviewing and refining. So that's the main thing there is to let you know this doesn't happen overnight. It's not a bunch of willy-nilly projects laid in front of you. Structurally, the bill, as it is before you, is about 30 pages. The first 28 pages are funding recommendations. And those funding recommendations are broken down into categories, which in your packets or online for you was this this handout. The back page of it has a summary of the bill as it lays out. And you can see how those categories come out, where the first is prairies, and then you're looking at forest appropriations or proposals, wetlands, and then habitat, and then administrative. On page 28 of the bill, it changes. Then it goes into carry forwards. And there are 8 recommended carry forward or extensions that the council has recommended for approval. Those extensions are to 8 different previous appropriations. And the reason for the extensions are all COVID related. It's because of the delays of COVID, pardon me, the delays that the COVID situation has laid upon many. And I'm sure in the future there will be more COVID related extensions requested. And then on page 29, it gets into some clarifying language, which you can have your legal staff go in more detail, but it's clarifying language to 97A.056, subdivision 10. And kind of in a nutshell, what that clarifying language does, it just allows us to make sure that we don't pay for protection twice. It's only paid for once, and provide some extra sideboards there. So, Mr. Chair, I can go through the individual areas of the bill, but if you'd like. But on this, if you could just, I'll mention a few things within it. And each year, there's a lot of work that happens with the bill. There's just about 100,000 acres of habitat work that will happen through this bill alone. 96,871 acres, 81 miles of stream shore that will be protected, restored, or enhanced, or shoreline, I should say. And that could be lake shore, it could be streams, rivers, etc. There are 25 different organizations that are recipients within this. And you'll see some of those repeated in more than one, like the DNR is in more than one, and Bowser's in more than one, and so on, the Nature Conservancy and others. But there are 2 state organizations, 9 local units of government, which are primarily watershed districts or soil and water conservation districts, and 20 NGOs. There's a lot of partnership that happens in these, and a lot of collaborating between local units of government and nonprofits, and also our agencies as this moves forward, as the funds are spent and everything happens. 92% of the programs are actually continuing programs. They're continuing phases. And that is in large part because the council has reviewed them and says, all right, they're doing the right work. They're doing it as they say. They're doing it with good economic integrity. So we're going to recommend them for another phase of their project. On the inside, there's a lot of charts. And the main thing to remember is that in this is that on one side, you have as these, you have a look at how it happens from an acreage standpoint, how the funds are distributed through different areas of the state, through different ecological regions, which are represented here, but from an acre standpoint. Whereas on the other side of this, you're looking at from a funding standpoint. So that's really important to define in your own brain as you're going through this and looking at the charts. It'll help you to kind of link the two across and see, okay, we really have some good distribution. We have good integrity of where the funds are going, and we know what's happening. The big thing to remember here is that the work is very diverse. The majority of the acres that will be affected are through enhancement or restoration. But the majority of the dollars are not only in those 2 areas, because it's more expensive to acquire land than it is to enhance land. And it's more expensive to restore land than it is to enhance land also. Restoring basically means you're taking something where the habitat value has been lost, and you're trying to bring back that original value to the habitat. And that costs a lot more than just doing a prescribed burn or some type of enhancement that will just enhance the habitat values that are already there. Mr. Chair, I know that you wanted to, you're keeping tight to a timeline. I'll just reserve for questions here at this point, if you'd like.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And I definitely want to be able to get to questions. Representative Zhang, is yours a question or is it for your amendment?
It's for my amendment, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we're just going to wait for a few seconds. I'm going to go to Representative Green then. Representative Green, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I know that we go through this every year, and I'm not going to load you down with a bunch of questions. I just would like to point out some stuff, and then maybe I will ask Mr. Johnson a couple questions. But for a long time, I've been trying to say the same thing. I think that the amount of land that's already in public ownership in Minnesota is more than sufficient. And if you look at the graphs, the pie charts that Representative Johnson, or excuse me, Mr. Johnson put up, and he did say that the best value is for enhancement. And you get 74% of the acres that are enhanced, but it only took 25% of the funds to enhance that 74% of the acres. So the best bang for the buck is to concentrate more on those efforts. Whereas you look at even the protect and easement, which I also think is to put these things in permanent easement is dangerous for the future, because I've already got people coming in wanting me to sign on to bills that will reduce their property tax because they've got an easement now and they can't use the property after they put it into a conservation easement. And my response is generally, you signed the paper, take care of it yourself. That's what you did. The other thing I want to point out is that, and this is something that I know that Mr. Johnson has tried to answer in the past, but I still don't think it's clicking right for me, where you've got the NGOs, and the NGOs, non-government organizations, for those who don't know, and that is like your Pheasants Forever and the other entities like that. But over the course of this, of the legacy funds, Pheasants Forever has actually bought, with legacy funds, about 14,500 acres. And in the notes on that, it says that Pheasants Forever purchases land to convey to U.S. Fish and Wildlife and federal government for the use of waterfowl protection areas. And the question is, why are we running this through other entities if the land is going to be given to the federal government anyway? And in a lot of cases, then we don't get the PILT, and we've just signed over parts of Minnesota to the federal government.
Mr. Johnson, did you hear the question?
Yes, I did, Mr. Chair. Thank you. And actually, there are, just as an example, Pheasants Forever, those lands, that 14,500, are only the lands that are without PILT. So in other words, there's no PILT liability to those lands that they have acquired. In those cases where those lands are transferred to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, there's still a notice of funding restriction applied to those because they're through outdoor heritage funds. And so the feds have to manage them in a way that's for habitat. But the feds don't pay payment in lieu of taxes. They do something different. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service actually provides an upfront payment to the counties toward taxes on those parcels, and then they also do I think they call it a revenue sharing, which ends up being some other funds later potentially to the county. So it's more upfront. It's not a payment in lieu. It's a different system that the feds are on. I don't believe it comes to as high of an amount as payment in lieu does, that the state pays for PILT funds, PILT lands, but it is a program of reimbursement for those taxes from the feds. And I think that answered that question, Mr. Chair.
Representative Becker-Finn, did you have something to this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And I did want to note for the record that, all of these projects are willing sellers. The organizations that come forward with these projects put a lot of work into building the relationships and getting to know these communities. And so I think there is value in that. And for some folks, it is those relationships can be built easier when it's dealing with an NGO that they trust, like Pheasants Forever, Conservation Minnesota, and I don't want to sort of give folks the idea that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's really helpful to have these organizations who already have that trust built and are doing that relationship building on the ground with potential sellers.
Representative Green.
Well, thank you for those answers. I didn't really get an answer to my question on why you're going through the NGOs from Mr. Johnson, but if I'm taking the comments right from Representative Becker-Finn, they run them through the NGOs because the people don't trust the government. And so if you're going to run it through an NGO so you can turn the land back over to the government, that's probably a reason why they don't trust the government. But so the bottom line is we've got about a third of our state now is in public hands. And we are constantly talking about workforce housing and how expensive housing is and how expensive land is. What is happening to our property taxes? And I tell folks, if you want to look at this in a pragmatic way, think about it. If someone took away a third of your income and said, "Now go pay your bills," and that's what we're doing to a lot of our counties that are 37% public owned, 25% public owned, or in some cases much more than that. And so I think there's a lot to be said for going back to the enhancement part of this, and even the permanent conservation easements. And as far as the willing seller goes, I've discussed this many times. If some, and a lot of times, and they'll tell you that they don't outbid private people, but they do. I can bring many people that will come in and say they've tried to buy land, and the state will come in, or Pheasants Forever will come in and outbid them on the property. So it's not just a question of having the willing seller. We are responsible, and we are the managers of this. And at some point, you have to say how much is enough. I've never gotten any answer that says this is how much we want, and we're not going to go any further than this. It's just continue to buy more all the time. So with that, I will wait until the other amendments come up. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Green. Representative Erdahl? Then I'd like to get through this and then get on to the amendment, and out of respect.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Johnson, just wondering, what type of land is it that's being acquired by the state? Is this generally farmland, or what type of land?
Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Chair and Representative Erdahl, good question. It really depends on the area of the state. In most cases, it's not good farmland. Sometimes it is good farmland. In other cases, it's forest land. For instance, there's some, it may be forest land that's going to be turned over to the county and maintained in forest, or owned by the state and maintained in forest, or it may be easements. But in general, it's land that will be restored to habitat. So if there is farmland, if it's something, say, in Martin County or wherever it might be, Martin County is one of those areas where there's a proposal in this bill, and there may be farmland alongside of a WMA, a wildlife management area, and within that farmland there may be drained wetlands that will then, if it's acquired, will then be restored, and the whole parcel will be returned back to native prairie or native prairie species and restored wetland. The project managers try not to target anything from I believe I can say this, they try not to target private farmland because people don't want to sell it, number one. Number two, it's expensive. So we're looking at what's going to be the best habitat use and what's going to be the easiest to bring back to habitat, and then it kind of works from there. But again, it's only from willing sellers.
Thank you. Representative Anderson? Sorry. Representative Erdahl, go ahead.
Thank you, Representative Lilly. And I don't expect that, Mr. Johnson, that you have these figures, but it would be very interesting at some point to know, in terms, since we started Legacy and began acquiring land, and with the thought that PILT doesn't necessarily make up the entire cost of the property taxes lost, what has been the impact to local governments, to counties, as far as tax collection is concerned, since we started Legacy? So I don't imagine you have any idea. If you do, I appreciate some type of answer, but otherwise maybe something that we could look at in the future.
Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, Mr. Chair and Representative Earl, that's a very interesting question, and there's a lot of details to it. I'll do my best. We'll dig into it a little bit and see what we can figure out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Representative Anderson and Murphy, and then we got to get on to the amendment. And thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Thanks, Chair Lilly. Just carrying on what Representative Green was going down the street, and I won't belabor this to a great extent, but it just amazes me that we provide state taxpayer dollars to NGOs to purchase land, and then in this case, they give it to the federal government with no assurance of any payments back to the counties really at all. I mean, it's not a certain set fee like PILT is. And I think that's where some of this concern comes in, that it just doesn't seem right to take all this land out of the private side and where they pay taxes and such. And we've often talked about counties passing no net loss type things of land, tax land, and then you got the thing about the willing sellers, and I get that, but I'd like to see a concept of no net loss of revenue for the counties and townships, in that if this land is purchased, whatever the tax base is at the time, it would remain that way, whether purchased by the state or given to the federal government. There needs to be some method of ensuring that the tax base, or at least the revenue, stays the same, to take away some of this distrust that we're losing so much tax base in these counties. And I think it really needs to be looked at and addressed for folks out in greater Minnesota. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Representative Murphy. I think your screen is frozen from what I'm seeing, but Representative Murphy. Okay, so thank you. And when we do the bill later on, we do markup and put it together, we'll have more opportunities to talk. And I hope that you have, if you have questions, that you reach out to Mr. Johnson or to Representative Becker-Finn. It's interesting because, well, anyways, let's get to Representative Zhang. You have an amendment, A3. I wonder if you could tell us quickly about it and what you're trying to do. And go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is an amendment that Representative Jamie Becker-Finn and I have been working on to better address equity in the Outdoor Heritage Fund, and I will yield to Representative Jamie Becker-Finn to explain it in more detail.
Thank you, Representative Zhang. Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And first, Mr. Chair, I want to thank you for holding the hearing earlier this session focused on diversity inclusion of BIPOC communities and our legacy funds. I think that was a really important conversation. And what it highlighted is there's room for improvement in better engagement and inclusion of these communities, especially when it comes to our outdoor heritage dollars. And given that $1.2 billion has already been appropriated from this fund, I think the need to address this lack of inclusion now is really important. And so I do want to be clear that acknowledging that there's room for improvement does not mean the work up to now has been bad, just that we can do better and we should do better. And so following the release of the February forecast numbers, we learned that additional dollars could be allocated while still preserving a 10% reserve in the fund. So working with Representative Zhang and others, we recognize that these dollars presented a really good opportunity to improve things in this year's bill. And so what the A3 does is first it tops off the CPL small grant program with an additional $590,000. That would be, when I say it tops off, what their ask was of what their capacity and their ask was. And second, it allocates $3 million to the DNR's No Child Left Inside grant program, specifically for programs that provide training and education to youth in the practical implementation of conservation practices that protect, restore, and enhance wetlands, prairies, forests, and habitat for fish, game, and wildlife. And real quickly, for members who are not familiar, the No Child Left Inside grant program was a bipartisan effort started 2 years ago that has been massively successful in providing opportunities for youth throughout the state who would otherwise not have those opportunities. And the DNR has successfully administered this small grant program to get dollars out to environmental learning centers, to nonprofits, to schools statewide. It's sort of like a CPL type program, but focused more on actually putting Minnesotans to work doing the on the ground conservation work with education and real skills that they can be utilized throughout their lives. And as we build the next generation of Minnesota's outdoor legacy. So that's the A3 amendment that Representative Zhang and I have been working on.
Thank you, Representative Becker-Finn and Representative Zhang. I see some questions. Representative Green, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to the testifier or the bill author. You're appropriating another $3 million to No Child Left Inside. First, how much is going toward that now? What will the total be when if this amendment goes on?
Thank you, Representative Green. Either one of you, Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So right now, the No Child Left Inside program, there's sort of some different buckets within the No Child Left Inside program, and we're seeking those funds. So it was a one biennium funding piece there. So right now there isn't anything going forward, knowing that we haven't finished the environment budget bill yet. But these funds would be specifically targeted at those on the ground conservation efforts. It's overall, it would be, so it would be a total of 3 million, which would be just 2% of the overall 2021 bill.
Representative Green.
Well, thank you for that, but I don't know that it really is an adequate answer. But the language in the amendment is really vague. You're calling the money for No Child Left Inside, but it looks like you're just going to be doing the same things that the rest of the bill is doing. So what are the programs? Is there programs out there right now that the DNR has that they're going to work with kids on, or is this just putting it out there and say do something?
Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Part of the beauty and the creativity of the No Child Left Inside program is that because they're small grants, we actually had an overwhelming demand for programs throughout the state. They actually closed taking applications in the first round of funding. So we know there is a demand out there, especially from our environmental learning centers that already have the experience in providing these kinds of programs and training and teaching people how to do this work themselves and how to bring that forward. So, there's all kinds of ways this could be expanded. And, I imagine there are programs statewide in all of our districts that would be able to make good use of these funds in protecting and restoring habitat.
Anything further, Representative Green?
Just a comment, yep. Mr. Chair, and yep. then I'll be done. Thank
you, sir.
As far as all the people that are applying, if you've got a pot of money out there, somebody's going to apply for it. And $3 million is a lot of money without a definite plan. I think that this is a little much. I think that the program is just starting. It needs to be viewed more, see some results for what's going on. I think this is too much money in this amendment to be putting forth something that looks to be very vague.
Thank you, Representative Green. And we've heard some great testimony in this committee about like wilderness inquiry and river watch and working with the kids. And boy, it's just super exciting. Representative Erdahl.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And one of our responsibilities as legislators is to bring forth questions that are asked us of situations like this. So I do have a question. There's a concern that this that spending legacy money on training and education is inappropriate in this case. And the question is, does this supplant funding instead of supplementing? I guess the larger question that Representative Becker-Finn or maybe Mr. Johnson, I don't know, can answer is, does the DNR already have a program for this?
Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, they do not.
Representative Erdahl.
Okay, well, that's an important thing to know. Just expressing a concern that someone had if this is proper use, and you should perhaps investigate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Erdahl. So I'd like to go to vote. Any questions in regards to the amendment? And we can certainly have more discussion as it comes forward or comes back again. And I don't see any further questions. All those in favor, please say aye, or does it need to?
Aye.
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 Those opposed?
No.
So we have amendment is adopted. Representative Becker-Finn, any kind of a wrap up on your bill? Again, thank you for all your work on this. And of course, Mr. Johnson, your amazing work with your team. I know when people call your office, I know your team really steps up and helps. But Representative Becker-Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, this is the culmination of a lot of work, and it's really important. You know, I think we just amended the bill. We made a good bill even better, and I think it's important that the community see us reacting when we learn there are ways that we could be better. And so I thank everybody for the discussion, and I also want to thank the public members of the council. They don't always get the credit for the long hours of very dense binders full of information that we all go through. And so I do want to thank them for their work, and thank members for the discussion today, and would ask for your support. I understand you're laying it over, but appreciate everything today. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative Becker-Finn and members. With that, I'll renew my motion that House File 634 as amended be laid over.